Welcome back to the channel, another segment of Brian Reads the News. This is where I take an article I find online and take it from my mouth to your ears, let you know what's going on in the world today. We've got a fun one here today, another one from Looper.com. We've done a couple from Looper.com. This one is about Chumlee, the star of Pawn Stars, the television show. Let me show you. The article is titled, What We Know About Pawn Stars Chumlee. It says here, Austin Chumlee Russell plays the hapless comic relief on Pawn Stars, and he plays it quite well, as long as you have no problem with some pretty repetitive plot points. Unfortunately, the real Chumlee is not as personable outside the world of the high-intensity Pawn Store TV show. It's one thing to hold down a cash register at the business of a family friend, even if you do it poorly and often overpay for items that you just think are cool while you're constantly distracted by your candy shop side business. Drugs, guns, and alleged sexual assault are other things entirely. The article says here, Chumlee was arrested in early of 2016 on some serious charges, and he may have benefited from having it all happen before the Me Too movement took off. Here's what we know about the case and everything else we know about the guy we thought was a lovable goofball until he got busted. Headline here says his arrest stemmed from a sexual assault charge. On March 11, 2016, the Associated Press via USA Today reported that earlier that week Chumlee of Pawn Stars, under his government name of Austin Lee Russell, was arrested following discovery of regulated and contraband material at his home in southwest Las Vegas. Authorities uncovered methamphetamines, marijuana, and a firearm while carrying out a search warrant issued as part of the investigation into a sexual assault allegation concerning the reality TV star. Methamphetamines, marijuana, and a firearm. Wow. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police booked Chumlee on a total of 19 drug charges and a single weapons charge, while the investigation into the sexual assault complaint filed by a woman in the area remained open. After posting $62,000 bail, Chumlee was released. At his scheduled day in court in May of 2016, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Russell accepted a deal in which he pled guilty to only the felony weapons charge. Provided he complete 3 years of probation, any other charges would be reduced to misdemeanors, while no sexual assault charges were ever formally filed. It says here the police found a lot of contraband in his house. Much of what the cops turned up at Chumlee's house falls under the standard celebrity bus stuff, including the existence of what was only referred to as a chum-chum room with a stripper pole in his house, but other details hint at a darker side to the story. According to the police report, that aforementioned single gun turned out to be a dozen of them, some loaded and only 4 were registered to Russell. More troublingly, the report via US Weekly adds that the drugs and paraphernalia were found in quantities commonly found with persons who package and sell controlled substances, which is a fancy way of accusing him of potentially being a dealer. It says here he took a plea deal. In May 2016, Chumlee took a plea deal that reduced his charges down to a felony weapons charge, unlawful possession of a firearm, and gross misdemeanor of attempted drug possession, according to USA Today. He also agreed to 3 years probation and counseling, with the possibility of facing 2 to 5 years in prison if he violates the terms. Chumlee's lawyer, David Chesnoff, confirmed to USA Today that no charges were ever filed in the sexual assault case that sparked the investigation that led to the drug and gun charges, and that his client had been cleared. Chumlee also had to forfeit the guns that were seized and, of course, the drugs as well. It was a major bullet dodge for the Pawn Stars' fan favorite, especially considering he was able to keep his job after it all. It says here the Pawn Stars stuck by him. Even while it was unclear whether Discovery and History Channel would continue working with Chumlee, his buddies at Gold and Silver Pawn Shop stuck by his side. Quote, "We don't have details yet, but we are here to help Chumlee however we can," Rick Harrison, Russell co-star and owner of this gold and silver pawn shop, told Fox 411. Chumlee's best bud and fellow Pawn Stars co-star Corey Harrison took a more indirect approach, instead choosing to post quotes about friendship and loyalty on his Instagram, as well as this one. Quote, "Don't believe everything you hear. There are always three sides to a story: yours, theirs, and the truth." He also posted a handy reminder about Nevada state law as it applies to gun registration, or more accurately, the lack thereof. Subtle? No.
He's nicknamed after a cartoon.
Russell got his nickname Chumlee when he was 12 years old because of his resemblance to the Chumlee the walrus from the cartoon Tennessee Tuxedo. Thankfully, the real-life Chumlee had a good sense of humor about himself and the way he was assigned the handle, which he said was by a childhood friend's dad. Quote, "He made a joke and it kind of stuck," Chumlee said, adding, "I started introducing myself as Chumlee about a year or two later, and I finally said, well, let's see who this Chumlee character is. Lo and behold, it was the dim-witted sidekick, Doe."
Says here he's a DJ on the side.
Reality TV fame can be pretty fickle, so it's perfectly understandable that in addition to licensing out his own merchandise, Chumlee has started looking into potential second career in music. He attended DJ school and spent some time working the turntables at home before booking his first public appearance, where he made headlines for requesting Girl Scout cookies and hot chicks on his rider, according to TMZ. He's also talked about getting deeper into music business by acting as a talent scout for Las Vegas artists.
Says here he's a pretty shrewd businessman.
Chumlee's own company sells his own merch and personal appearances, and he gets a lot of offers because he's the series' breakout character. According to the Deadline, he was the first of the Pawn Stars personalities to brand himself, which resulted in a nice little merchandise business that Rick Harrison bought into so he could share in the profits by selling the Chumlee branded t-shirt and other paraphernalia right on the pawn shop floor.
Says here he and the Harrisons go way back.
When Chumlee was a kid, he became besties with Corey Big Hoss Harrison, whose father Rick Harrison and grandfather the late Richard Old Man Harrison opened the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop in 1989. Having hung around the shop as kids, Chumlee and Corey eventually became employees. Speaking with Las Vegas Now, Chumlee said he's been working behind the glass display cases for 5 years before the show ever came about, and that he wasn't even sure he would get cast on it. Quote, "There are 10 other employees in the shop and they were looking for a fourth person to put in the show," he recalled. "I thought to myself, well, I've known these guys my whole life. We have good camaraderie and I'm just going to be funny and joke with them like we would normally do and not get nervous in front of cameras, and it kind of worked out. Several highly successful years as reality TV superstars and millions of dollars later, yeah, we'd say it worked out just fine."
Says here he's dealt with tragedy.
Chumlee's father passed away of pancreatic cancer 2 weeks before Pawn Stars premiered in 2009. When asked if there's anything he'd personally never pawn off himself, he told Las Vegas 7, quote, "I have a few possessions that I would never pawn. Those would be the few items that my father, a master woodsman, has made. My father passed away 2 weeks before the show debuted on TV. I could never sell or pawn that, but I would pretty much sell or pawn anything else."
Says here his weight has fluctuated.
After Chumlee's father's death, he took his health much more seriously. Also inspired by Big Hoss's transformation into a not-so-big Hoss, Chumlee lost over 100 pounds by working out and cutting out all processed foods except for mustard, according to People. "Now everything in moderation is my motto," he said in 2014. Unfortunately, he'd gained 50 pounds back by 2016, telling the Las Vegas Review-Journal that he, quote, "got tired of eating chicken and vegetables 6 times a day out of Tupperware." According to People, Chumlee estimates that he reached his highest number on the scale in early 2019 when he weighed 350 pounds, and that he'd cycled back and forth between losing and gaining about 100 pounds. As of October 2021, Chumlee's weight stabilized at about 190 pounds following gastric sleeve surgery at a Las Vegas clinic. Doctors remove as much as 80% of the patient's stomach per UCLA Health, resulting in drastically reduced hunger and appetite, leading to rapid weight loss.
Says here he made a huge misstep in the pawn business once.
Harrison told the Huffington Post that Chumlee's biggest error in pawning happened before the show ever filmed. Quote, after someone came into the pawn with the stand-up base, Chumlee leaned it against a shelf and walked away. The base fell and shattered into pieces, the Huffington Post reports. Chumlee put the pieces into a box and put the pawn number on the box. When the man came in to pick it up, he opened the box and saw his base in pieces. He started freaking out, Corey says. He pawned it for $700 and it wound up costing us $20,000 because it turned out to be rare.
He's a sneakerhead.
In 2011 episode of Pawn Stars, Chumlee admitted to having more than 40 pairs of Jordans alone. He's also a fan of Vans and Adidas. He has more than 200 pairs of shoes total, according to Complex, who took the star shopping for even more to add to his illustrious collection.
He's not too comfortable with fame.
Despite being the fan favorite, Chumlee admits he's not great at interacting with Pawn Stars fans. Quote, I'm honestly probably the least approachable out of all of us in reality, he admitted to the Las Vegas Sun News. I don't do well in conversation. I'm just very quiet and reserved for the most part. I've opened up a lot since the show premiered, but Corey and Rick, they talk a lot more than I do.
John Bon Jovi is a fan.
Quote, we went to his meet and greet to meet his kids because they wanted a picture with us, Chumlee told the Huffington Post. He gave us front row tickets. That was pretty cool. When does Bon Jovi personally invite you to his show?
He opened a candy store.
On top of his thriving merch business and lucrative reality TV gig, Chumlee has also become a bona fide business owner of a surprising type of store. In May of 2017, he opened Chumlee's Candy on the Boulevard, located conveniently across the plaza from the business that made him famous, according to 3 News Las Vegas. In a guest column for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Chumlee said he started the candy biz with his brother Sage, and the two of them will run the day-to-day operations. That's great news for thousands of tourists who visit Gold and Silver Pawn every day just to catch a glimpse of one of the Pawn Stars. Now all they have to do is just walk across the street for a pound of gummy worms, and there's a solid chance Chumlee will be swiping their credit card.
But it got off to a sour start.
When Chumlee wanted to start promoting his store or selling his candy online, he had to get creative with the name of his website. That's because the domain names chumleescandies.com and chumleescandiesontheboulevard.com were already taken, according to TMZ. Chumlee threatened the so-called cyber squatter Patrick Keyes, who allegedly admitted to purchasing the domains shortly after hearing the news that the Pawn Stars regular planned to open the store. Chumlee had to consider either ponying up some serious dough or changing the name of the store to something equally catchy, like Pez Stars or Second Thought. That would have been a terrible idea.
He's a giant UNLV Rebels fan.
Though his interest in UNLV basketball started out as a result of the collegiate team being the only real game in town, Chumlee's love for the Running Rebels has grown into full-blown fandom. In 2012, he became a season ticket holder. By 2014, he felt comfortable enough as a diehard to do a little sideline coaching as an interview with Vegas 7. Quote, I love the Rebels. Those boys have a lot of talent. It's just an unfortunate situation that they seem to lack direction out there, Chumlee said, adding, I'm not pointing any fingers and I don't know what the problem is, but we gotta get that talent to work together. Regardless of the team's performance, Chumlee's devotion does not waver. I always root for the boys whether they're winning or losing. I try to stay till the end of every game. I'm a huge Rebels fan, he said, proudly stating, I have a Rebel Chuck Taylor sneakers, the Walmart version. Only pair of shoes I ever bought in Walmart.
Chumlee got married, or did he?
Good news for Austin Chumlee Russell, Las Vegas pawn shop mainstay and crowd favorite, co-star of the reality TV series Pawn Stars. He found love and got married. We were friends for a year or two before we were even a couple and got together right out around the beginning of 2016, Chumlee told the Las Vegas Review-Journal of Olivia Radaman, a UNLV student, photographer, and freediver, according to her Instagram account. In 2018, Chumlee proposed during a trip to Hawaii. In March of 2019, he staged the first step of a double wedding celebration with a party at a downtown Las Vegas hotel. The actual wedding ceremony was set to occur the following May in Hawaii. It's unclear if the wedding between Chumlee and Radaman ever took place. Even if it did, the pair seem to have split up. Chumlee's Instagram page bears no trace of Radaman, while Radaman also apparently scrubbed her Instagram account of photos of her former fiancé, if not husband. She's moved on too, and some 2022 posts show her getting close with a different guy, reportedly professional poker player Jake Schindler, according to Distractify.
He's really into trading Pokemon cards.
Chumlee became a famous television star on Pawn Stars by just doing his regular job at a Las Vegas pawn shop, keeping an eye out for collectibles and negotiating fair prices for those cultural artifacts. It makes sense that off the clock and off the air, Austin Chumlee Russell would have a keen interest in a highly sought after, widely collected and traded item. The reality star is an avid collector of gaming and sports cards, including those associated with Cryptic, Ultimate Fighting Championship, and most of all, Pokemon. Apart from his immensely popular main Instagram account, Chumlee maintains a separate page just for his Pokemon hobby. He routinely posts videos of himself tearing into packs in search of rare and valuable cards to add to his substantial collection, which contains a few gems. I think I probably have a $600 Charizard Rainbow, which is a rare Charizard, Chumlee told Looper in 2001. Chumlee's enjoyment of Pokemon extends to the Virtual Spear as well. He's pretty good at the Pokemon Go mobile game. I've been playing that for quite a few years and I got a pretty high level on there, he said.
He had a Kickstarter for his own video game.
As a child of the 1980s and early 1990s, Austin Chumlee Russell grew up in a time when the Nintendo Entertainment System was a dominant video game system and a touchstone of youth culture. Surpassed by increasingly sophisticated systems, the NES ended production in the 1995, according to Washington Post, but Chumlee still holds the platform dear. Early in the 2020s, he got to work on the independently produced and privately funded Chumlee's Adventure, The Quest for Pinky, a cartridge-based game made solely and specifically for the NES. I just wanted to do an old runoff of the Kung Fu game for Nintendo and kind of go with the trend that vintage games are getting really big, Chumlee told the Las Vegas Review-Journal. It crosses over into the world of Pawn Stars. It's cool and fun and nostalgic. He opened a Kickstarter project through his own Instagram page to fund the creation of the game, along with producing the cartridge itself, game manuals, and boxes. The game stars Pinky, an 8-bit version of Mr. Piffles, Chumlee's Pomeranian dog, who appears on Pawn Stars.
He makes money with his photography.
After obtaining fame and fortune in front of the cameras as a breakout star of the enduring reality TV series Pawn Stars, Chumlee took a shot at making a name for himself and a living on the other side of the lens. The website for the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop made famous on Pawn Stars offers prints of Chumlee's original photography for sale. As of February 2023, 4 works of art were an offer, with one completely sold out. Desert Wasteland depicts a rusted, graffiti-covered abandoned building element in the sands outside of Las Vegas. All the lights shows the Vegas skyline all lit up at night. A new dawn captures sunrise over the Nevada desert. Horseshoe Bend offers an aerial view of that natural formation surrounded by water. The latter is unavailable as it's sold out. The other Chumlee original photos cost $650 each. So there you have it. That's the end of what we know about Pawn Stars Chumlee, an article from Looper.com. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit about Chumlee, some of the stuff that he got into, some of the trouble, some of what he's up to these days, his ups and downs with his weight, all that stuff that was discussed, and know a little bit more about him so that when you watch him next time, you feel a little bit close to old Chumlee. hopefully you guys enjoy this information. Like I said, if you want to check it out for yourself, you can go to looper.com and see all the photos and read exactly what I read. It's kind of a fun little site where you can find articles like this. For those of you that don't know, my name is Brian Kingsbury. I run an online clothing store myself, and I'm also trying to get into this YouTube game. I've got a channel now. I'm trying to get monetized, trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. So if you could take a second, hit that subscription button, ring that notification bell, and come on back for some more videos. It would be awesome. Thanks for watching this one. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.